I'm going to do one more reading tonight from A Course in Miracles. This is from the Manual for Teachers, and it's number 10, question number 10, which is, how is judgment relinquished? Judgment, like other devices by which the world of illusions is maintained, is totally misunderstood by the world. It is actually confused with wisdom and substitutes for truth. As the world uses the term, an individual is capable of, quote, good, unquote, and, quote, bad, unquote, judgment, and his education aims at strengthening the former and minimizing the latter. There is, however, considerable confusion about what these categories mean. What is, quote, good, unquote, judgment to one is, quote, bad, unquote, judgment to another. Further, even the same person classifies the same action as showing, quote, good, unquote, judgment at one time and, quote, bad, unquote, judgment at another time. Nor can any consistent criteria for determining what these categories are be really taught. At any time, the student may disagree with what his would-be teacher says about them, and the teacher himself may well be inconsistent in what he believes. Quote, good, unquote, judgment in these terms does not mean anything. No more does, quote, bad, unquote. It is necessary for the teacher of God to realize not that he should not judge, but that he cannot. In giving up judgment, he is merely giving up what he did not have. He gives up an illusion, or better, he has an illusion of giving up. He has actually merely become more honest. Recognizing that judgment was always impossible for him, he no longer attempts it. This is no sacrifice. On the contrary, he puts himself in a position where judgment through him rather than by him can occur. And this judgment is neither, quote, good, unquote, nor, quote, bad, unquote. It is the only judgment there is, and is the only one. And it is only one. This is a quote now. God's Son is guiltless and sin does not exist, unquote. The aim of our curriculum, unlike the goal of the world's learning, is the recognition that judgment in the usual sense is impossible. This is not an opinion, but a fact. In order to judge anything rightly, one would have to be fully aware of an inconceivably wide range of things past, present, and to come. One would have to recognize in advance all the effects of his judgments on everyone and everything involved in them in any way. And one would have to be certain there is no distortion in this perception, so that his judgment would be wholly fair to everyone on whom it rests now and in the future. Who is in a position to do this? Who, except in grandiose fantasies, would claim this for himself? Remember how many times you thought you knew all the, quote, facts, unquote, you needed for judgment and how wrong you were. Is there anyone who has not had this experience? Would you know how many times you merely thought you were right without ever realizing you were wrong? Why would you choose such an arbitrary basis for decision-making? Wisdom is not judgment. It is the relinquishment of judgment. Make then but one more judgment. It is this. There is someone with you whose judgment is perfect. He does know all the facts, past, present, and to come. He does know all the effects of his judgment on everyone and everyone involved in any way, and everything involved in any way. And he is totally fair to everyone, for there is no distortion in his perception. Therefore, lay judgment down, not with regret, but with a sigh of gratitude. Now are you free of a burden so great that you could merely stagger and fall down beneath it. And it was all an illusion, nothing more. Now can the teacher of God rise up unburdened and walk lightly on. Yet it is not only this that is his benefit. His sense of care is gone, for he has none. He has given it away along with judgment. He gave himself to him whose judgment he has chosen now to trust instead of his own. Now he makes no mistakes. His guide is sure, and where he came to judge, he comes to bless. Where now he laughs, he used to come to weep. It is not difficult to relinquish judgment, but it is difficult indeed to try to keep it. The teacher of God lays it down happily the instant he recognizes its cost. All of the ugliness he sees about him is its outcome. All of the pain he looks upon is its result. All of the loneliness and sense of loss, of passing time and growing hopelessness, of sickening despair and fear of death, all these come of it. And now he knows that these things need not be. Not one is true. for he has given up their cause, and they which never were but the effects of his mistaken choice have fallen from him. Teacher of God, this step will bring you peace. Can it be difficult to want but this? Bottom line, you cannot judge. It's not only that you shouldn't judge, and there's no shoulds here, right? There's no shoulds in the Course. Jesus is not telling you to do anything. He's not forcing you. He's not saying you're going to go to hell. He's not saying, you were numbered among the goats if you judge. You're not my disciple. You're not a good student. None of that. There's no guilt. There's no shame. There's nothing here. He's just saying, damn, you're going to feel so much better when you see that judgment is the only thing that's in the way. The only thing, the cause of all of your misery is judgment. And if you could relinquish judgment, you would see that there's absolutely no problem. Everything is just as it needs to be. Not even that, it just is what it is. And the only clouds in the way are the clouds of judgment that you have mistakenly chosen because you want to maintain the specialness, you want to maintain your separation, your individuality, your sense of limited self, which is an illusion. When you realize that judgment really is impossible, and that the Holy Spirit, Jesus here mentions the Holy Spirit. He says there is one that knows everything and sees everything. When you realize that you have that within you, the Holy Spirit is there within you, within everyone, you can give it up to the Holy Spirit and relinquish, let go of the judgment. And the judgment will happen through you, not by you, but through you. And the judgment is that God's Son is sinless. There's no guilt, right? That's the only judgment. It's a non-judgment. It's a judgment that's a non-judgment, which is there is no sin, there is no guilt. No one is to blame. No one needs ever to be made less than. Ever. There's no exception to that, right? No order of difficulty in miracles. There's no one that you can pin the blame on, including yourself, right? You are everyone. So if you do that, if you do pin the blame on someone else, you're just doing it to yourself. And you don't realize that until you go a little deeper with all this. So anyway, God's Son is guiltless and sin does not exist. So wisdom is not in judgment, but in non-judgment. That is true wisdom. Socrates, the wisest man. All I know is I know nothing. I have no place to judge. I said this in the last video or maybe I said it in this video. You have no pot to piss in. You have no way you could possibly judge. There's too many factors involved for us to make any kind of judgment, especially about ultimate things. Obviously, we make judgments all the time. It's not talking about that. This is talking about, really it's talking about judgments against others, right? Judgments of the value of someone else. Judgments of, who's right, who's wrong, who's good, who's bad. These kind of moral and value-laden judgments we cannot make. The difficulty is not giving up judgment. The difficulty is in trying to keep judgment. So again, bottom line, judgment is impossible for us, but it is possible with the help of the Holy Spirit. But again, the Holy Spirit's judgment is non-judgment, which is no one is guilty. Everyone is in the same boat, and we're all going home, rowing home together. And if we make anyone less than perfect, we have made a mistaken judgment, and the mistaken judgment can be corrected. It's not a sin to judge. It's just a mistake that can be corrected. And as long as we don't correct it, we will feel bad. And that's really the cause of our pain and suffering right there. And when we do correct those judgments or whatever judgments, we will feel better, and we'll feel a bit more at peace, and we'll start to see. We'll put two and two together, and we'll start to see that it's letting go of judgment. That's the whole game. And the more we can do that, the happier, more at peace we will be, and more joy and more everything else that we really want. So hope this was helpful. We're going to keep doing the manual, so stay tuned for more. Thank you.